Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Berdel Warrior here, and I just have my topic today. If you look at it there, it states, what is the cost of your love? Think about that for a minute. What is the cost of your love? So here I'm trying to get my camera right. So I hope you guys having a super awesome Thursday. Can you believe it's Thursday already? My goodness, the week went by really fast, don't you think? Hold on, this is not going right. Hold on. I've got this devices here. Hold on. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Okay. So if you think about, okay, so what is the cost of your love? So being a mom, what is the cost of your love towards your children, right? Then after you think about your children, your husband, then you could think about your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother. What is the cost, right? What is the cost? There's always a cost for everything. Think about it. There always is a cost. There is a cost, right? Everything costs something, whether it is your time or maybe your money, but there is a cost. So what does it cost for you? Okay, some of you right now might be a stay-at-home mom, right? So you there cleaning, cooking, making sure that everything is right. Some of you might be a home educator, right? So not only are you doing the cleaning and the cooking, but you are educating that child as well, right? And then some of you might be a working mom, right? And so you working to provide the monies for your family. Then maybe some of you are a single mom, right? And then you're it, right? You are the person the go-to person for your children, because maybe the dad is absent from the home, right? Then you might find yourself as a retired person, right? Maybe you are, your significant other is no longer there, or maybe you find yourself, whatever the circumstances, or you might be a dad, right? He's out there, you working. And so thank you, dad. Thank you, mom, for taking the time to provide for your family. I mean, that's an awesome responsibility. And so you might be a dad, and you might find yourself, you might have a wife, might be married, or you might be a single dad, or you might have been in a transition. You were married, a married dad, and then now you find yourself single for whatever reason. So wherever you find yourself, just think about it. What is the cost of your love, right? For that child, for your family, because you still are family, right? And so when you think about it, I know sometimes when I look at my sons, their lives, because there are, how would you say, there are sharing the child. The child goes sometime with the dad and sometime with the mom. And so you find that there are overcompensating, meaning that they're giving too much materialistic stuff instead of actually spending time. And then I have one child that spends so much time, right? But then at the same token, he does it that is like the other party is taking advantage of the situation. I hope that makes sense. So, wherever you find yourself, right, what is the cost of your love? What is the cost? So sometimes we as parents, we go beyond the call of duty. But isn't that great? Isn't that great, Michael? We go beyond the call of duty. We want to make sure that our kids are provided for, that our wife is provided, or the husband has whatever he needs to, whatever we need to do for them to get their, make them be at 100%, right? So wherever you find yourself, what is the cost of that? Sometimes, like I state, we overcompensate because maybe there's a lack here or maybe a lack there. So we give more in one area instead of looking at the whole picture and kind of put a balance on it. We need to have a balance. So whether you are a single mom or single dad, right? When you get that child when you get the child, you see the child, what are you doing? Are you spending, say, quality time? It's not about the quantity, but it's about the quality of your time, right? The quality of your time. So sometimes you spend a lot of time with the quality. Maybe, I don't know, if you have a son, maybe you go fishing, or I don't know, maybe you go and play a game, watch a movie, and everything you do, there's a lesson in there for yourself. There's also a lesson in there for the child, right? If you think about it, there's always a lesson in there. So if you think about even within our business as a stay-at-home mom, or maybe a business owner, or maybe you're working and then you have a business on the side. So you kind of look at that and say, what is the cost for me to have this business? Like I state, there's always a cost. There's always a cost associating with it. And so I'm just asking, what is the cost? Are you giving all that you can give? Are you over giving more than you should? Okay. Are you giving to the point of damaging your own health? Does that make sense? Damaging your own health because you're so busy, busy, busy. And also with the dad, sometimes they are busy within the home, and then they're busy within the big community, within their churches. And sometimes you find that there is a lack because they give into that particular church too much, and then maybe neglect some of the responsibility at home, meaning spending quality time with the children or with the wives. So, like I said, it's a balancing act in everything that we do, right? Whether we're spending time with our moms or with our dad, or hey Paul, hey Pam, or we spending time with our sisters or our brothers, right? We have to be able to look at it and say, what is the cost of my time? Do you have that time to really stay there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours? And then sometimes you probably just need to just, how would you say, let your hair down and just get comfortable and just be there for whomever it is at that moment. I know sometimes when I go to LA, it's like, I know I've got so many friends and other family members to see, but then I realize that my goal is there to help take care of my mom. So I spend most of my time taking care of her needs, making sure that her need is met, whether or not I'm have to get up early in the morning, to make sure that she has her breakfast, because she does that for herself. But sometimes you want to do that extra special thing for them, right? And so, so then I find enjoyment of doing that. So sometimes we as mom, dad, wherever we find ourselves, retired grandma, I got my grandkids as well. And sometimes we find ourselves just doing maybe not enough, sometimes not maybe too much, or maybe you're doing a little bit of both, right? So wherever you find yourself, what is the cost? There's a cost. There is always a cost to what we do, right? And then here's the final one. What is the cost of your love to yourself? Sometimes we as moms, we give so much till what? We neglect ourselves. We neglect our own responsibility to ourselves, meaning that we need to make sure that we are balanced in all areas, your health, okay? You need to get rest. You need to make sure that you are getting your spiritual nourishment, We need to still stay in the Word, prayed up, fasting and praying. We still need to do those things for ourselves. But sometimes, especially I remember when I was working in corporate America, I was so busy in the morning getting the kids ready for school, getting myself ready for work. And then I did not really take time out to read the Word. But what I did, I found time. I had like different tapes and stuff that I listened to, or maybe different music that I listened to get the Word in. And nowadays it's so easy because all you have to do is download the Bible and it can read to you on your iPhone or your phone, whatever. You got those things now, right? But back in that, I didn't have all that. So so just take time out to feed yourself spiritually. Feed yourself spiritually. We cannot neglect that. And then make sure that we get enough rest as mothers, Dad, you too. Dad, you too. You can't leave yourself out. Make sure, Dad, that you guys getting enough rest, taking time. Hey, Cedric. Thank you for stopping by. So we have to make sure as dad that we're taking enough time for ourselves, our own personal health. Because if you think about it, without you, dad, we wouldn't be as strong as we are as mom, as being a married person, or maybe you're a single dad, but your child still wouldn't be a strong person if it weren't for you, right? They're looking to you as for the guidance as the priest, even though they might not be in your home, but they're still looking up to you, or maybe they left the home, but they still come to you for guidance, right? So dad also needs to make sure that they stay prayed up, that they make sure that they're eating the right food, right? Getting the right rest, and spending the quality time for themselves. I know sometimes for me, I work so much at home, and I don't take time out for myself. And so even sometimes my daughter said, Mom, you need to just take time out for yourself. And I remember my mentor, he would remind me, you need to take time out. And so I've been taking a little bit time out. I don't know. I'm one of those people that has a list, right? And on my list, everything on for that day has to be check mark. I have to have a check mark for each item that I do. So what I decided to do starting, I think was this week, was just put, maybe instead of having 10 things on my list, maybe I have 5 things on my list. Okay, and even sometimes now, since it was this week, sometimes I don't get it all done. And that's okay. But here it is. I have to make that okay, because here it go. What is the cost of my love for myself? What is it costing me, right? I need my health. I need my health, right? Because how am I going to help my family, right? So I got two girls still at home. So how am I going to help them out? Help my husband to be the best that he can be here. So there's something going on with the internet connection. So we have to make sure, as a man of God, a woman of God, a brother and sister, wherever you find yourself, that we need to take the time for ourselves. So what is the cost of your love? What is the cost? So as I was preparing for this lesson today, I was looking at some articles, and this girl was talking about, she was in a relationship, and then she they had like a contract that they signed, and they go over the contract, I guess every year, go over the contract, add things on there. It's like, you walk the dog this day, we paid this half of this bill together. When we go out to eat, whether it's the birthday or anniversary or whatever, you pay this or I pay that. And then they kept on doing that. And then when they talked about the marriage part that always seemed to got off the table. They never really dwell on that, because I guess maybe she wasn't ready or whatever have you. But they never talk about it. So she was in that relationship for a decade. And then she came to realize once she got out of that relationship, I don't know what happened to the relationship, but once that relationship ends, so now she found herself thinking about, what was the cost? What was the cost for that relationship? Okay, what was the cost? She said that I was in love. My love meant making compromises, right? And she said that was right? Making those compromises was right. But but if I had loved him, but did I love him too much? That's a question. Did I love him too much? Meaning that she had loved him so much till she neglected the responsibility for her own self. Okay, so she did everything, that he wanted her to do, but then he didn't do some of the stuff that she wanted for herself, right? So she herself in the process. And sometimes we, as a woman, we go into a relationship and we find ourselves lost in there. Whether we're married or single or was married before, sometimes we get lost in there. And so we have to, realize that we don't need to get lost in there. We need to still go ahead and start studying the Word and see what God has for you. What does He want me to do? Does He want me to love someone more than I love myself? And sometimes we as women, We do that quite a bit. We give so much to the other party till we neglect the responsibility of ourselves. So what is the cost of your love? What is the cost? What is it costing you, right? It's going to cost you something. So I'm just saying, figure out what that is and make sure that you find the balance for yourself. Okay, there's a price you're going to pay. So whether or not you're paying a price right now, you might say, well, I got my youth, everything is going fine, whatever. And it might be great. But then what about years later? There's a price we're going to pay to be in violation of God's law. There's a price. We might not be paying it now, but we will be paying it later. And then here's the other thing: if we're not paying it, then our kids will be paying it. Especially for whatever reason. I mean, I was guilty. But kids going from one place, whether it's going from the dad to your home and from your home to your wife's home, whatever, your ex-wife home, whatever. But there's a price for decisions that we have done. There's price that we have to pay for our mistakes. If you look at the Bible, there are so many prophets and kings that had paid the price. Right? There's price, and sometimes they might not pay it all the way, but then that curse, or it went on to their children's children. So then we need to make sure that we are doing our taking care of God's business in such a way that He will get praise, honor, and glory in everything we do. I am not saying that we are perfect. We are imperfect people, right? But who are we supposed to be looking up to? We're looking at God for the direction. Yes, we may fall, right? All I'm saying, we fall down, we get back up, we ask God for forgiveness, we go on to the person and get it right, and we move on. For me, I made so many mistakes in my life, and I'm thankful for God that He's given me the opportunity to ask Him for forgiveness, went to those individuals, asked for forgiveness, and I'm moving on. I hope that makes sense. Move on. Because, like I said, I think last week I talked about yesterday, we cannot do anything about the past, right? It's gone. So we need to have like a funeral service of what happened yesterday, because we can't go back. But we can look at it and draw from it and say, okay, I made this mistake. I don't want to go back there. That's all I'm saying. We are imperfect people, but God has called us to look to Him, not to the world, but keep our eyes on Him. And sometimes we as believers, as a mom or dad, sometimes we take our eyes off the prize and looking so much at what people in the world doing, and knowing that we are not called to be in the world, but we are called to be we are separate, right? We are in the world, but not of the world. I think that's better. We are in the world, but not of the world. So even though I might be hanging with friends that are not believers, I can't do what they do, because I'm called to go higher. I'm called to go to live my life to a higher standard, right? God is holding me accountable because I know more. I know more. And sometimes I think people are looking at us and saying, well, so-and-so did that, sister and brother, so-and-so did that. Well, it's okay for them. Not realizing that if we had set the right example, then maybe our children wouldn't be in such a state of confusion. They will be not looking so much to the world or at the world. They will be going into the Bible and see what God has for their life. I hope that makes sense. So we could go say love is a choice. Love is active. So you can create, whatever life you want, right? So what is the cost? What is the cost? Love is the result of appreciating another's goodness. Think about it. Look at the goodness of each person, that came into your life. They came there for a reason. Maybe they came into your life for you to get a testimony, so you'll be able to share, right? And then sometime they came into your life for a season. That doesn't mean that they need to be in there for a long period of time. Maybe for a season, and then it's time for you to move on. And sometimes For me, I found that I was in some relationship for a little bit too long, and some of the relationship that I should have been in there a little bit longer, I got out too quickly. And at the same time, same thing I'm finding in my business. I'm in some businesses too long, and some businesses I should have just cut a long time ago. So just look at your life and just look and see. We are January 24th already, and it's like, wow, the time is going by, right? So take an examination and think about what is the cost of your love? What is the cost of your love for yourself? What is the cost of your love for your family? What is it going to cost for you, for your mom, your dad? What is it? There's a price, right? There's a price. So what price are you willing to pay? And so here I got my scripture reading is John 10:10, and it says, "The thief cometh only to steal and to kill and destroy." You know who that is, right? "I have come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly." So even though we're looking at the world and we know who's behind that, right? We know that Satan, there's two forces, there's the good and evil, right? And we know that. So we want to be on God's side. He has called us. He wants us to have more of abundant life, okay? And then John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends." Okay? Listen, he laid down his life for his friend. So God gave us his son, and his son laid down his life for us. So what is the cost of your love, my love? It's great. It's great. God sent his son. His son died. Someone died so we can have a freedom to make the choice, the right choice, freedom to live for him. Okay, so there is the high cost for our love. There is, right? There is. So what is your cost for your love, my sister? What is the cost for your love, my brother? Okay, only you can decide. Stefan, only you can decide. I mean, I can't make the decision, but I'm just saying, wouldn't it be great if we realize that God paid the ultimate price for our love, for his love to us, ultimate price. Before I was born, before you were conceived, I was conceived. He paid the ultimate price because he knew maybe one day you might decide not to follow him, and then one day you might hit your head on how would you say, on the rock, and then you decided to wake up, and then you've decided to follow him. Isn't that awesome? One day here we are following him. Isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? So if you are a sister or a brother that maybe have not quite sure of the 9 lies that's holding you back, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your business, and you might want to look at my the training that I offer. Okay, please free to like the video, make a comment stating send more information, and then also share. There must be someone out there that needs to hear this message today. So my brothers, my sister, until tomorrow, hope you guys have a super awesome day. Until then, take care.